Then you had the All-Star team that was announced, and as Mike Broughton, I think, said, that probably deepest class in 20 years. We knew this. We've been talking about this class for 2 years, it seems like, leading up to it. And it is a deep class. But is there truly a superstar in this class? I don't know that there's truly a superstar in this class.
Yeah, I mean, maybe not a superstar as far as like a one and done or that type of a top 10 type of a player. I think that's true. Yet to be seen, I guess. There's times where I thought Trey Kaufman looked like he could be that, but he's just not the explosive athlete, that you see with some of those guys. So, and that's always kind of been the thought on him. But, I would say, from a standpoint of the depth of this class, it's probably almost as good as 2012. And I think it'd be fun. I might go back and look at that class, the 2012 class again. And it had, I think, I have to go, I don't want to give you a number because I don't remember exactly, but it had more Division I players than this class did. But I think this one ranks up there with that class as far as the depth, probably number 2 in the time I've been doing this since, for the last, whatever, how many years. So, from that standpoint, I think you're going to end up with a lot of guys who have really good college careers. For instance, Kamari Peterson from Gary Westside, who's going to Indiana State, I think is going to have, a really good college career. And I would argue I had him on my list of Indiana All-Stars when I submitted my top 10, because I think he's that good. They made the semi-state, he missed a shot that could have put him in the state finals, and nothing against him, but they're that close to playing for a state title and beating Carmel. So, they were right there, and I thought he was a big reason why. He didn't have huge stats, but playing on a really balanced team, I thought he's legit. I think he'll end up with a better college career than some of the players who did make it. But we knew that going into it. And they ended up taking 14 rather than 13. You still could go down the list and put together a whole 10 or 12, which I kind of went through that yesterday and wrote an article about it. But I think there's definitely at least 6 to 10 guys who had a resume that would put you on most years. Chris Mantis, who's going to Appalachian State, I could see him being a guy in the NCAA tournament, down the road who's lighting it up, and you're like, oh yeah, I remember Chris Mantis, and he's scoring 28 points in an NCAA tournament game. But I think there's guys like that. Peterson, Mantis, Colson Montgomery from Southridge is a phenomenal player and an athlete, and he'll go on and probably play Major League Baseball someday. And he could have been definitely on that list. And Southridge fans will tell you he should have been on that list, and they might be right. So there's just a lot of there's probably 6 to 10 guys like that who, in most years, I think have a pretty good shot of making that team. But because of the overall depth, it just made it really hard. And Kurt Hop from Bar Reeve, what else can you do? He had a great year, but just got edged out. There's so many 6'9" guys on this team. Blake Sisley made the team, and Kurt didn't. So just a tough year overall. And we all knew it going into the selection process, but it really plays out when you see the list of guys who didn't make it, and you're like, man, what happened? How did he not make it? But then if you put one on, you got to take one off. That's the thing I always try to tell people. It's like, there people say snubs and politics and all this stuff. It's like, well, if you're going to put one on, you got who you taking off, and that's what always makes it difficult.